Hello, it's Sam Highfield, Visual Effects Supervisor with my creation Imagini here, which allows you to do live visual effects. And when I'm working on a project and we're planning how we're going to film all the visual effects shots on set, I'm often asked by the first assistant director, Sam, do we really need a green screen? Because it takes time to rig and light a green screen, doesn't it? So, I'm just going to have a quick go at keying this here. So key that there. And we'll even throw in a mask as well. Let's hide the grid. Okay, so there we go. So obviously that was a big oversimplification, wasn't it? And so if you haven't got time to put a green screen, because it does take time. I know I'm basically in like a softbox here where I've got white light all around. I've got really even lighting. And so the lighting on me is also suitable for a green screen, right? However, if you don't have time for that, then you've got three friends, and they are, you've got keeping the visual effects as the top layer. I'll explain that in a moment. You've got split screens, and you've also got rotoscoping. So I'll explain what those all are. So keeping the visual effects as the top layers, that's kind of like a visual effects term. So I'm going to explain what that is using the best example of keeping visual effects in the top layer using no green screen at all, and that is from the legendary work of Ray Harryhausen on the Jason and the Argonaut. So I'm going to show you a clip of that now. Here we go. So throughout this, we've got, if you notice, the skeletons are always in front of the actors all the time. They're always in front, even though the choreography has been designed. Okay, all the choreography has been designed so to make it happen. Even all the sword strikes are always on top of the shields and all that kind of thing. So it's always made so the actual actors are always behind, and we can play it a little bit more. So probably Ray Harryhausen and Star Wars were what made me get into visual effects when I was watching this when I was a little monkey. Okay, so you can see, again, they're always in front all the time, aren't they? And this is one of the greatest pieces of cinema ever, right? So I'm going to explain what the front layer is. And here we go. So basically, I'm just going to show you this here. So this is like a frame of the film. But when you say front layer, think of it as something like this. So you can see, it's almost like this is like a plate of glass with the visual effects on there. And don't worry, I know this wasn't how it was made. It was made by something called Dynamation here, okay, but this works for the principles we're talking about, where basically the top layer, they're always in front. So this can be as complicated as you like, as long as you never have to go behind these actors, then you'll be fine. Okay, so next up is split screens. You need one person talking to another one to do a clone. So I'm going to go and be on one side of the screen. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go and talk to my future self that will be on the opposite side of the screen there. I'll just go and do it a few seconds. Okay, and then I'll stop recording, and then I'm going to go over to the other side of the screen. Okay, I'm just going to go mask myself out now. So hit O for overlay, and you're in compositing mode, and I'm just going to go and mask myself out here. Okay, and I press K to quick load the last plate. Okay, and there we go. And then this is actually an interesting point as well. So here's a split screen. You can still see that line there? This is the thing that will actually go and screw you over when you're doing this kind of thing, because everyone thinks, oh, they're on one side of the screen, I'm on one side of the screen, but what about the shadows? Okay, so there are ways, this is going to be easy. All I have to do here is basically just blur the line in between. So I'm just going to show you what I'm doing. So that's no blur, and that's with blur. And then that's enough to get you out of most problems. So there we go. I can go and talk to my other person. Now I've got to be careful. I don't make any gestures that go past this line here. Next up is rotoscoping. So rotoscoping is basically just cutting out things frame by frame, basically. And it's a good option if it takes too long to set up the green screen, as I kept on saying throughout this video, or the fact that you can't get a large enough green screen that you need in a small and awkward location. And it's always surprising how large of a green screen you actually need. So let's go and take a look at this over here. So back to Jason and the Argonauts again. You know, incredible film. So as he kept on going on about before, the skeletons are always in front of the actors. But let's say we want to put one behind. So we're going to go and rotoscope this guy out here. Okay, and I'm going to show you how to do this because it's important you get an idea of the actual techniques involved. Okay, so I'm going to do a cutout of this one frame here. Okay, now you can skip forwards through this on this video, but there is a value in sticking with it, and that is you get an appreciation of what the rotoscope artists have to do. And now, as I said before, we're on his hair now. You can't really rotoscope hair, so because of the distance to the camera, you could actually have a decent chance at rotoscoping his hair here. And plus, anyone who's technically minded will think, well, it's dark hair on a light background, so you could have a go at pulling a luma key there, or a luminance key. So I'm basically drawing this mask around him here, and then we'd have to update this for every frame. So this is a film, so it's probably at 24 frames per second, which means, as I'm sure you know, 1 second is like 24 photographs. So you would do this 24 times. Okay, well, you wouldn't have to draw the spline. That's what this is called. It's called a spline. You wouldn't have to draw the spline from scratch. You'd only have to update it, but that does mean that every single one of these points has to be updated, and not just like in any old way, a way that has to make sense with the biology and the way the character can move, or the animal can move, whatever. So here we go, and I'm just going to go and make that a cutout now. Okay, and I'm just going to put that on a checkerboard because that looks more like a Photoshop style of transparency there. So there we go. So he's in there, and I can move him wherever we want now, and he's on his own layer. So let's go and take a look. So we've got just him. We've got the plate here, and what we could do is we could take a skeleton that I've cut out previously. Okay, so let's have, this is the background here. This is a piece of software called Nuke, by the way. It's my favorite compositor. And I'm going to take this skeleton here. Let's take a look. So this one here. There we go. So he's on top. Cut out with the same process. So he was rotoscoped as well. I say he, I guess it's skeleton, he or she, could be either, couldn't it? So, you know, biologists could tell me what the difference was probably. But anyway, so we've got that one there. And then if you put this fella on top, there we go. And for the first time, maybe ever, going behind this this character here. So there we go. That's our skeleton, and we could have him moving across, and we can put him behind this this guy here. First of all, not everything can be rotoscoped. Okay, so anything with like quite a solid silhouette. So for example, I'm okay from kind of about here downwards, but as soon as the hair comes into it, you can see these little, see these little bits of hair here? That's going to be really tricky, and we're kind of pushing the realms of what's really possible rotoscoping. So if I was wearing a hat, that can be rotoscoped quite well. The worst thing, okay, is this here, okay? So don't ask me why I have a wig. So if you have this kind of thing, and it's kind of like slow motion where we can still see the continuity between frames, to rotoscope that would be an absolute nightmare, okay? So when you have something like this and you think, well, can we just put something behind this character with this kind of hair, so we have some visual effects going on behind it? Not really. You must use a green screen for that one because it's just not going to work, and it'll be because you don't have the continuity between frames. If you want to Google boiling, animation boiling, because you think what you do is you go and cut out all these little parts, all the little details, and you go to the next frame, and then you go and hand paint out and everything. And what happens is that when you play it all back, because we're only human and we don't have exact, continuity between all the frames, it's going to be like boiling all over the place. It's be flickering, and the only thing you'll be able to see is the boiling. Okay, so don't attempt it. This is definitely something you need a green screen for. But anything with a solid, more silhouette, especially to a broadcast standard. So as you can see, rotoscoping takes quite a while, and you're probably thinking, how much is this all going to cost? So I'm going to tell you, because nothing's real until I put a number on it, right? So for a small visual effects house to do like a broadcast quality cutout, for one character that they're going to be cutting out, it's going to be about €250 per second. In my experience, the average visual effects shot is about 3 seconds long, as you see on the timeline in the edit. So that's going to be about €750 for a shot where you're going to cut out, say, one person to a broadcast standard. So, and also in my experience, you think, oh, how much does it cost to film? Well, to film on a good, say, decent sized drama in a studio, you're going to be looking at about €15,000 per day. Okay, and that's for a 10-hour day. So each hour is costing you about €1,500. Okay, so if you're going to think, if it's the way you could think of it is, so for 30 minutes to film with the crew, it's €750, or to have this final 3 seconds, that's also going to be €750. So you could think, well, if it's going to take more than 30 minutes to do all these green screen passes and all that kind of thing, then you can go with the rotoscoping option if there's quite a bold silhouette. If it's something like someone's got this, I'm not putting it on. If you've got something like this, then you have to go down the green screen route. Okay, so there's your 3 techniques. You've got keeping the visual effects as the top layer. You've got split screens, and you've also got rotoscoping. I hope you found that useful, how with some careful consideration you can completely avoid using a green screen, yet still make some fantastic looking visual effects shots while still filming quite quickly. So I'm Sam Highfield. I am a visual effects supervisor, so if you have an interesting TV show or film with some interesting visual effects in it, think about hiring me as your visual effects supervisor. Make sure to go and buy an Imagine kit. It's not expensive. It allows you to connect the camera to your laptop so you can do a live visual effects composite. And I don't know why anyone would want to film something as technical and precise as visual effects without some kind of live VFX composite. So that's why I've gone and created this here. It's made for visual effects, made by a VFX supervisor. It has everything we need to put everything together, make sure that everything works, allows us to show the DOP and the actors live so they can do proper performances, eye lines. We can match the lighting perfectly, by having the DOP actually giving them a precise tool to use to actually match all the lighting up and everything to get everything perfect for that really great natural looking composite. And it's just fantastic. And every film crew in the world, certainly every visual effects supervisor, should have it.